Welcome back. This is Charting the Market from Business Plus. I'm your host, Aurangzeb Bhatti. Let's get along with some basics. Have you wondered why stock prices move up and down or a zigzag manner? What forces govern the stock prices? Well, there are generally three forces and three factors that are pulling the prices in all possible directions. First, the fundamentals of the company. This is basically stuff such as your income statements, balance sheets, and present and future business prospects of the company. Fundamentals sort of determine the fair price of the stock. This is not the market price. It is actually just the fair price of the stock. Second, how much premium or discount investors are adding to the fair price. This is essentially what the market price is. It could vary dramatically from the fair price. Third, and the most important, is the human element, or psychology, what we call. The price of stock moves between extremes of greed and fear. Greed and fear is not quantifiable. This fact alone guarantees the element of unpredictability and excitement that most investors are seeking, and also the expectations and swings of irrational exuberance and at times terror, creating the premium or discount to the fair price, which creates opportunities for investors. Fortunately, the fair price of a stock is very easy to nail down. Determining the fair price is done through what we call fundamental analysis. However, fundamental analysis is not enough to be on the right side of the market. Remember, you have to be on the right side of the market to make a profit. Fundamentals of a company can often be very deceptive as well. For example, a stock trading at 50% below its net book value, or the book value or the net worth of the company as it's on its books, is not necessarily a good price for that stock. The reason is simple. If the company's assets are not performing and not producing, then the assets are useless to the company. Therefore, those very same assets are useless to the shareholders. In this particular scenario, fair price is a very deceptive way to determine the price of the stock. Therefore, one other factor that you have to consider, and that is balance sheets, income statements, and cash flow statements of companies often get manipulated very creatively by accountants and lawyers and management. Therefore, you have to look beyond fundamentals. One way is to couple technical analysis with fundamental analysis to arrive at the price of the stock that you want to purchase. Traders at times, because of greed, complacency, or cowardice, send the stocks gyrating in extremes, extreme high prices and extreme low prices. Therefore, the relation to fair market may not be based on assets, earnings, or dividends. There are deviations one can explain. These deviations are explained by technical analysis. Technical analysis, in essence, is the study of the stock's past historical behavior. History repeats itself is a very famous saying. Also, we've heard growing up, we should learn from history. Well, that's exactly what you do when you analyze stock charts. You look at the historical performance of the stock charts, and you look at the stock's current behavior and determine what the future behavior is going to look like. Greed and fear, the two partners in crime in stock movement. Let's take an example of a hypothetical company. This company, ABC, issues 100,000 shares to its shareholders when it goes public. The pricing of these shares is based upon fundamentals of the company, and usually this price is arrived at in consent with the underwriters and the management of the company. The stock starts trading in January at 10 rupees a share. Notice some good news, some rumors, or some investment bankers and brokers talking good on the company drive the price up. First to rupees 15, then to 20, then even higher. In a couple of months, the price of the stock goes as high as 40 rupees a share. Keep in mind that for every share that's sold, or rather every share that's bought, there's also a seller for that share. Soon people who bought the shares for rupees 10 have unloaded their shares at rupees 40. Assuming 50% of the people who purchased the share at rupees 10 have unloaded their shares at rupees 40, now there's buyers that are holding the stock at 4 times the price at which it was originated. What drove these people to buy at 40? Obviously, it was the expectation that the shares would reach 80 or even 100. So these buyers basically bought the shares out of sheer greed. And they're the most sensitive to any bad news because they don't expect the stock to come down. One fine morning, there's a rumor of bad news on the company, or again, some general economic news that affects all companies. These same people, our jittery friends who bought the stock at 40 rupees a share, are the ones to unload the stock. And that's what drives the price of the shares down. It is just a lopsided, there's more sellers than buyers. So fear is what drove the price of these shares down. This phenomena moved the shares from very weak hands into very strong hands, because there were some smart buyers who did not expect the stock to go to 40, or rather they maybe did, but they would rather buy it at a price that is more closer to the fundamentals of the company. This whole phenomena of moving the shares from weak holders to strong buyers is what creates a base for the stock. This process continues until a strong baseline is formed. The trend line that you see, the green trend line, is what's supporting the strong buyers, and the tops that you see are the resistance lines where weak buyers unload the shares out of fear. In the end, the previous resistance line becomes a support for a new move up, and also a new resistance line is formed, which becomes a resistance for new sellers of the stock. We can look at this phenomenon in another way. Our classic supply and demand approach that we read in an economics class. As the price of the shares goes up, there's few buyers. As the price of the shares comes down, there's more buyers. And this is what actually determines where the price of the stock will sit eventually and create a baseline or a resistance line. So here's a live example, because so far we've been talking of a hypothetical case. EFU Life Insurance. This is a live chart as of yesterday, February 7th, 2008. You can see the greed and fear phenomena at play. You can see the formation of a trend line, and you can also see the formation of a support line. This support has given rise, or rather given the springboard for this leg up in the stock. Fear grips shareholders at this point, and the stock starts coming down until it comes to the trend line. To prove this point, we'll look at another stock chart. Engro Chemicals. This too is from yesterday. Here you can see, again, the formation of your typical greed and fear and the stepping of the stock. But a very interesting thing happens, that somewhere the trend line is broken. Right around in August, the trend line of the stock is broken, and the stock comes back to a previous support. New support for the stock starts from this line. And also notice another phenomena, that the zigzag or the exchange of shares from greed to fear keep on moving in a much more narrower range. The tussle between the buyers and the sellers actually becomes so close that eventually the movement is just 1 rupee a share per day between the buyers and the sellers. This has to be resolved one way or the other. In this program, you will learn the techniques to how to determine which direction will this price resolve in, and whether it's going to move up or down, assuming all other things remain. It's time for a brief commercial break. Stay with us, because after the break, we'll look at some live charts